So here we are then, Royal Ascot is finally here. Welcome along to the Racing Postcast, brought to you by the Racing Post, sponsored by Unibet. And yes, you join us for our top 5 bets for the Royal meeting. Myself, Sam Hart, in the hosting chair alongside Robbie Wilders, Graeme Rodway and Unibet's Ed Nicholson. We did this for the Cheltenham Festival, really popular video. In just one day, we had almost 10,000 people watch this video. So you absolutely love hearing what our best bets are for the meeting. Ed, it's, in my opinion, I'm a big flat racing fan. This is one of my favourite weeks of the whole year. I can't wait. The weather's looking good and we're in for an outstanding week.
Yeah, I think for once we kind of are going to be okay with the weather and we're going to know what the ground's going to be, which is always a slight concern when you go into a week-long festival and you're doing a preview on the Monday. But yeah, it looks like a really good festival ahead of us. And having gone through the races over the last 3 or 4 days, I'm just really excited too, Sam. So many great horses, and for me, there's lots of young horses that are coming through that I'm interested in as well. So yeah, looking forward to finding out what the lads fancy as well.
Absolutely. Robbie, come to you quick. It's a long old week. We've got 5 days of spectacular racing on the rise. I mean, you know, all the punters out there watching, you don't have to play in every race. There's plenty of racing, top quality action to watch on the telly. You don't have to bet in every race. But yeah, I bet you've been looking forward to this for a little while.
Yeah, you can find them, mate. Yeah, I've been chipping away on a race by race 35 all races guide that was posted online yesterday. So I've had a good 3 days to look at everything and feel very much set for the week.
And Graeme Rodway, I've heard that you're going to be in the office with me tomorrow. Looking forward to watching the racing alongside yourself. You're a man who just gets excited for any racing, really.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, Sam. Yeah, I was on the school run this morning with one of our buddies, and he's off to Ascot tomorrow. He's on a big hospitality gig with one of his companies, so he can't wait. The problem is, Sam, of course, he knows nothing about racing, and I'm his best mate, so the pressure's on, not just to give everyone winners, but to give my school run buddy winners. Yeah, if I don't give him any winners, I don't think he'll walk down to the school with me anymore.
Well, hopefully you can find him a couple of winners on the show today. As always, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I need to give a shout out. I was at Goodwood on Friday night. I mentioned last week's show. Shout out to a gentleman called Ben who approached me. So he's a big fan of the Racing Postcast. Do get in the comments. Let us know that you're watching. We do read the comments and we love to hear from our viewers and listeners. Ed, Unibet, a busy week for you as a bookmaker. There's going to be plenty of offers on extra places, boost. Let us know what's going on throughout the week.
Yeah, you're right, Sam. And every few years it falls during a big football tournament, and it makes it doubly interesting for a bookie. So we've got plenty of cross doubles, like if you like football and Royal Ascot. For example, on the first day, Tuesday, Royal Scotsman to be placed in the St James's Palace, and Scotland to beat Switzerland 16-1. So things like that are going to be up on our site. But the standard offers, money back second or third. If your horse gets beaten, you get your money back on one race each day. You've got the super boost every day, and you've got the extra places. We've got, I think, 4 extra places on the first day that's already come through. So check the site. There's a really good link which puts up all the rewards, all the offers, all the promotions. Unibet.co.uk/enclosure. We'll be promoting that in our advert on the Racing Post website and on the actual newspaper. So if you want to know all the offers every day, unibet.co.uk/enclosure.
There we go. So there's all the information there. You can head over to Unibet and see all of the offers. Yeah, and like I had mentioned, a busy week of sport. You've got Royal Ascot, Euro 2024, you've got the T20 Cricket World Cup, and you've got the Queen's Club Championship, the tennis starting this week as well on the grass. A spectacular week of sport in store. We're going to get into our top 5 bets for the Royal meeting shortly after this. So we go, the top 5 bets for Royal Ascot 2024. We'll start from 5, moving our way down to our best bet for the meeting. And do you know what? I'll start with you, Graeme Rodway. Who's at number 5?
Yeah, I'm going to kick off with one at a decent price, Sam. Al Musmak is the horse, and he runs into Hampton Court on Thursday, 5:40. It'd be right in the middle of the England game. So you'd have to switch over and watch after England a batter in Denmark at half time. You have to switch over and watch this one run in the Hampton Court at 5:40 on Thursday. He was mixing it with some really good horses last season as a juvenile. He was second behind Rosalien at the track. He was second behind Ghostwriter, who of course has finished fourth in the Guineas and fourth in the French Derby. So that is really top form. And he returned first time out in the Dante. He ran no sort of race. He wasn't the strongest in the market that day. So I just wonder if he was in need of the run. And he comes here. This is a much weaker race, obviously, than the Group 2 Dante. I think he can cash in on a drop in class. And because of that disappointing run last time, I think we're going to get double figures. So I'm going to kick off with Al Musmak in the Hampton Court, 5:40 on Thursday, Sam.
There we go, number 5 for Graeme Rodway and then Al Musmak. Robbie Wilders, to you then. Who's at number 5?
Yes, mate. I recall saying on a chat with Rodders and Keith at work after the Chester Cup that Zandabad was going to win the Ascot Stakes, and I'm standing by it. That race is on the Wednesday at, was it 5:05? Just got a horrible trip round on the Rudy. I thought he would have won that by a good 2 or 3 lengths if he sort of did have any sort of luck in running. He was drawn wide. Really, really eye-catching finisher that day. William Buick's up. I know Tony Martin's not technically on the licence. We've got Mrs. C. O'Leary. I don't know an awful lot about her, but I guess it's going to be a bit like the sort of Gordon Elliott, Sneezy Foster situation a few years ago. That wouldn't put me off. He's run well at Ascot over hurdles, only 2 starts back, maybe just to give him a sighter for the Ascot Stakes. I think this has been a bit of a sort of long-term plan, and I expect him to do the business under William Buick.
Okay, Zandabad for Robbie Wilders and the Ascot State. Yes, go on, G-Rod.
I've given you number 4 as number 5. Does that matter? Can I just switch him around?
We'll swap them.
We'll swap them. We'll keep it in the show. We'll put it at the end of the show. We'll give number 4, and at the end of the show, you can reverse them around to 5 and 4. That's fine, Jared. Don't worry about that.
Whatever way's easiest for you. I've made the case. Whether you want to mess around with the graphics or it's up to you.
Look, it's a Monday morning, G-Rod. We'll keep it in. Absolutely fine. We switch that at the end. I'm going to come to Ed now for his number 5.
Yeah, Twilight Calls is my number 5 in the King Charles III Stakes, formerly the King Stan Stakes. He's come 2nd and 4th in this race in the last 2 renewals. And he comes in here on the back of a fast finishing 4th in the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket. Ryan Moore set him out the back that day, and he was actually outpaced, and he stayed on the rising ground. And actually on the kind of weight concessions on the weight, it's not a handicap, but on the weights, he comes out the best horse on the postmark. So on that race, I think he's been left with a bit to come for this race. He needs a fast pace. He does need fast ground. I think he'll get both this time, which he doesn't always get. So as long as the rain doesn't come, and we never know in England, do we? But as long as the rain doesn't come, I thought it was a cracking each way bet. And my odds compilers agree. We're actually the shortest in the village at 8-1. On Twilight Calls. I just think the race will be made to run to suit him. He likes the course. He's got everything in his favour for the first time in a few years at Royal Ascot. I think it's a big price at around about 8-1 with Unibet.
Okay, Twilight Calls then. Yeah, look, the sprinting division's so open. Talk about the race open. The King Charles III Stakes is very open this year. I'll make a quick case for my number 5 in the Wokingham Stakes, 5:05 on Saturday, and it's going to be St. Lawrence. Winner of this 27-runner event last year off a mark of 100. Hasn't done too much since, but avid watchers of this show will know that myself and Graeme Rodway have been watching this horse very closely leading up to this race. Look, he needs to break well. He's had a few torrid runs recently, but hasn't really had the ground he had last year. He won last year on good firm ground. He could likely get that again, depends on what we get throughout the week, but absolutely loves the quicker surface. He's only £3 higher this year than he was last year. It'd be interesting to see whether they put Holly Doyle up or if they put a £3 claimer aboard this horse. But look, if this horse breaks well, I think this has been the long-term plan since the start of the season. This would be the race to come back and try and win it for a second year running. So St. Lawrence for me in the Wokingham Stakes. Right, Graeme, I'm going to come to you then once again, but this would be your number 5, but we'll put it down in number 4.
Running Lion is in the 3:45 on Wednesday, the Duke of Cambridge. Now, I think this one's an old friend of ours, isn't it, from the podcast? I think, was it Ed? Ed, did you tip this at Epsom last time? Someone tipped it. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
and she was ultimately very disappointing that day, finishing last, and again put in a sort of strange performance, which seems to have become a hallmark of Running Lion now. Strange performances. She was travelling like the winner, 2 furlongs out, and then she didn't get a run, and then suddenly went out like a light, and was disappointing. I'm not entirely sure she was in love with the track at Epsom that day. Oisin Murphy certainly seemed to be having a bit of problems steering her. And I just think it's worth putting a line through the run. She weren't beaten that far in the end, even though she was last. I think she was only beaten 3.5 lengths or so in a tight sort of silly finish. And on her previous form, she's got a good chance, hasn't she? She had them beaten all ends up in the Group 2 at Newmarket first time out before throwing the race away by running all over the track after trading at 1.01, and she's just been mixing it in strong races last season. I mean, the fact that she ran an absolute shocker last time out at Epsom is going to help us with the price, and I definitely think that this galloping stiff mile will suit her, because all of her best form last season was at 1.25 and she was even tried at 1.5. I could just see them going real decent pace here, and this time Oisin Murphy hiding her and trying to produce her late, and it might work. She's got loads of ability when she wants to show it, and at double figure odds I'm more than happy to take a chance on her showing it this week, Sam. So Running Lion in the Duke of Cambridge on Wednesday at number 5 or 4, whichever you want to put it.
There we go. Yeah, that'll be Graeme Rodway's number 5 bet. But it's Running Lion. I was a bit surprised when you sent that over, Graeme, but I completely see the case. On ability, she definitely has it in her, and 16-1 with Unibet could be a massive price in the Duke of Cambridge on Wednesday. Ed Nicholson, to you then for number 4.
Yeah, 4th best bet during the week is Jusseur in the Commonwealth Cup on Friday, 3:05, currently 10-1. It's a 3-year-old I think we haven't seen the best of yet. He needs fast ground. He needs being held off a fast pace, which they found out last season works. Both of which you should get in the Commonwealth Cup. They will go very quick. And this has been the main plan for the Grey since disappointing in the Group 1s last season. Jim Crowley gets on well with Jusseur. He's found the key, not just him, but obviously the stable and Clive Cox and the team. They settle him off the back and come through. And he did that in the July Stakes, Grade 2 last year at headquarters on fast ground. And then in the Commonwealth Cup trial over course and distance, did exactly the same under Jim Crowley. The hold-up tactics seemed to be working fantastically well. They did that, I think, to begin with, to make sure that she didn't pull, because she was pulling when she ran in the. Sorry, I keep saying she. He in the Group 1s was pulling, and he didn't get home in both the Group 1s at the end of last season, where he finished 8th and 9th. I think he did. So forget those runs. I think he's a Group 1 horse. He's proved that he's a Group 2 horse. And I think he's got every chance of continuing his improvement. And this race has been the target all along for Clive Cox's horse. And Clive does like to run horses in this race. And I just think he's got plenty of ability, and we've got more to come. And therefore, I thought the price of 10-1 was actually quite good value. It is a difficult race. He will have to improve, but I think he will improve throughout the course of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a July Cup horse himself.
Yeah, I can see that. And I'm going to come in because there's a form guide with regards to the Pre-Morny that Jusseur was in as a 2-year-old. And I think a lot of people might have expected this horse to be closer to number 1. But I'm going to be putting up a horse in the Coronation Stakes. And it's going to be the French Raider Ramatuelle. I think a lot of people expected Robbie Wilder's shaking his head because he knew it was coming at some point. But yeah, this horse here, we saw what she did in the 1,000 guineas. It was a bit heartbreaking for myself. Aurélien Lemaitre kicked very early, and she was caught late home by Almalka, who went on to win the race. Oisin Murphy's taking the ride. An interesting bit of news with Aurélien Lemaitre losing a few rides from the French Raiders. I mean, he's lost the rides on Big Rock and Blue Rose Sen, and he now loses the ride to Oisin Murphy on Ramatuelle. Maybe not the best of starts for Aurélien this season, but Murphy knows how to ride Ascot really well. Speaking to Christopher Head, they've been working this horse round a bend in Chantilly. That would have been a little bit of a concern, but I think they're quite happy with how she can handle a bend, which she'll be running on in the Coronation Stakes. She has this turn of foot that's just exceptional, and it's just holding on to her long enough. And if she can kick away from them, I think she's got every chance of winning this race. Opera Singer could just be top class, but look at the prices. I think that Ramatuelle, I think she can definitely make up for that run. I think she should have won that 1,000 guineas. I don't know what the panel think, but I think she is top class. And I'll be having a go on her around 4-1. Robbie Wilders, you shook your head at me there for a match.
Yeah, I think I prefer her in the Commonwealth Cup personally. I think she got bags of speed. Definitely got a chance in the Coronation today. I just feel like the stiff finish might find her out a bit, but we shall see. I'm going over to Wednesday, the Prince of Wales Stakes, 4:25. I just think White Birch should be favourite ahead of August Redan.
Yes,
I mean, he was so impressive in the Tatzel's Gold Cup. I just simply get the impression that he's just improved past August Redan. I know August Redan was better than him last season, but these sort of Ulysses are getting much better with age. I think he's a real side to follow. And White Birch is just putting up performances of a completely different level than he was last season. Don't think this is a strong Prince of Wales Stakes. Now Passengers come out. He's lost his biggest rival there, and really should be favourite. I can't really see why he's not. And I'm not too fearful of too much in the field. So I think White Birch is he's short enough, but he should be shorter for me.
Just quickly, you say that you lost Passenger, who I do think was going to be the most likely winner of this race. I think he's an exceptional horse. But Inspiral now being moved to the Prince, did that worry you at all with regards to this selection?
Not really. I mean, yeah, she's won an awful lot of Group 1s. She is going to be better for her return at Newbury. That was a slightly weird race. But I don't know how much more improvement she can really find. Whereas I don't see why White Birch isn't going to keep getting better, to be honest. So I think he should have a measure. But I do understand why people will like Inspiral for it.
Yeah, look, White Birch, really fast improver, exciting. I think Robbie's right should be the favourite in the Prince of Wales Stakes. Right, on to bet number 3 then. We're almost getting to the top of the list. Ed, I'm going to start with you here. You can kick us off with number 3.
Yeah, my third best bet of the meeting is good old Rosalien in the St James's Palace Stakes on Tuesday. 4:20, I think it is. It's around about 7-2. I was surprised about the discrepancy between his price and Notable Speech. He's about 11-8. Obviously, unbeaten 2,000 guineas winner Notable Speech is being taken on again by Rosalien and kind of several other top class 3-year-old minors. It's a fantastic race, as it always is. The Irish, the English, the French guineas winners normally turn up here. Sometimes the Italian guineas winner as well. And it really is the European guineas, isn't it, for me? And I just think Richard Hannon's horse has still got improvement to come. Notable Speech obviously has got more improvement. We won't, we haven't got to the bottom of him, but the way the stable talk about this horse, Rosalien, they think he's one of the best 3-year-olds they've ever had, and Hannon knows what it takes to win this race, having won it with Barney Roy in 2017, while his dad trained the 2010 winner, Camford Cliffs. Both horses incidentally finished placed in the English Guineas, and then they won the Irish Guineas, and then they won this. So, Rosalien is trying to go around the old tested route that the Hannons have done in previous years. And I just think he showed so much speed to get up in the Irish Guineas and beat a tough horse in Atem, who I know you love, Sam. And the 7-2, I would have had the two much closer together in the betting. Not that I'm a massive odds compiler, but 7-2 I thought was a fair price for Rosalien. I think that will contract come the day, because I think he's a public horse. I think people love him.
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, absolutely. He likes the course as well. I think he's a fairly good chance in this race. And like you say, the Hartem form, I absolutely love Hartem. I'm interested to see what price Hartem is for the Jersey Stakes. I think over 7, he could be a bit of a weapon. Robbie, to you then for bet number 3.
Yes, mate. I'm going to go over to Wednesday now. Going against Rodders in the Hampton Court Stakes, 5:40. King's Gambit. I think this is a Group 1 horse, quite possibly. The way he won the London Gold Cup was really, really impressive. As obviously his first run of the season, it made no sense that he was completely peaked to run to his top effort first time out, when there's a lot of sort of group races he can tackle. I expect him to keep getting better and better. As I say, he didn't have a run there. He's facing a lot of well-handicapped horses who had the benefit of an out, and the form's just already working out really well, with various horses coming out and winning or running well since. And he's well worth his place in this company, and I expect him to prove a bit too good.
Hey, King's Gambit in the Hampton Court. It seems like Hampton Court's a popular race between all of us on the show, because I actually like one as my bet number 3, and it was Bracken's Laugh, who I thought was a little bit overpriced. He was a good winner at Chelmsford at the start of the season. He actually beat one of Aidan O'Brien's horses, Capulet, very easily. Now, Richard Hughes immediately outlined the D Stakes at Chester as the place to go with this horse, and they faced each other again, and the form was reversed. Capulet only narrowly beat Bracken's Laugh, but I don't think that should have been the case. It was a torrid run for Bracken's Laugh. I thought everything went a bit wrong for this horse, and as soon as this horse finished, Richard Hughes just again outlined a race, and it was the Hampton Court. This is never really the best race of the week, the Hampton Court. It's never usually the strongest race, and I've got a feeling this horse stepping up is another 1.5 furlongs. I think there's plenty more improvement to come from Bracken's Laugh. I know how much the yard think of this horse, and I think he's got some real ability in there over this trip. So yeah, Bracken's Laugh, he's around 7-1 with Unibet. I think he is a good bet in the Hampton Court Stakes. Graeme Rodway, I think you're number 3 or the finished off here.
Yeah, number 3, I'm pretty certain, is Porta Fortuna, who runs in the Coronation Stakes on Friday, 4:25, against your Ramatuel, Sam. Porta Fortuna was second in the 2,000 Guineas at Newmarket. Ramatuel was third, wasn't she? But Porta Fortuna was the only one of the first 4 that day who hadn't had a prep run going into the race. And I thought she ran remarkably well considering that. And I've always felt this race might suit her a little bit better. She was, of course, a winner at Royal Ascot last year. And round the bend, she's got a bit of speed, Porta Fortuna, like she's in the Commonwealth Cup on the same day on Friday, but I expect she'll run in the mile race, the Coronation Stakes. And I just can see her coming off that bend. She might have a superior turn of foot, given that she's got loads of form over shorter distances last year. And I think this race might set up well for her. The ground should suit her as well, provided it's on the far side. So number 3 is Porta Fortuna in the Coronation Stakes, 4:25 on Friday at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, they've got a bit of similarities in some ways, Porta Fortuna and Matrio. Both horses are so quick over 6, but they can definitely show it over a mile. So yeah, Porta Fortuna and the Coronation Stakes of Graeme Rodway. Now on to number 2. I'm going to kick things off with Henry Longfellow. I'm going to take on Rosalien in the St. James's Palace Stakes. Aidan O'Brien's Henry Longfellow, 8th in the Poule d'Essai du Poulain, the French 2,000 Guineas. Everything went wrong for this horse in the race, and including the ground. The ground went properly against this horse. And how many of Aidan's horses have we seen this season take a huge step forward from their first run? I'm confident that this is Aidan O'Brien's best miler that he has in his yard. I've got a feeling that this quick ground at Ascot is really going to suit. Yes, like Ed said, this is probably one of the strongest races and the best looking races of the week with notable speech, Rosalien. Then you've got the French horses, you've got Metropolitan and Darlinghurst. Who knows what Darlinghurst could do? He doesn't seem to want to be beaten. So a proper race, but this horse was so impressive as a 2-year-old. Like I said, I think he's the best miler. I think we probably do have a worthy favourite in notable speech, but I've got a feeling this horse, Henry Longfellow, is going to take a huge step forward. He'll win this, and then I think he'll go on to win the Sussex at Goodwood. Robbie Wilders, you're number 2.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, mate. I'm going over to Friday in the Sandringham Stakes, 5:05. Horse called Spiritual. She was opened up quite a big price. She represents the John and Fady Gosling yard, who won this last year with a very similar type in Capice. Capice also ran in the Nell Gwyn, sort of didn't really handle Newmarket, didn't handle the dip. Spiritual did the same thing, basically. She was a really impressive winner on her debut at Leicester last season. And it was the same story in the Rockfell Stakes. She just didn't really handle the track. But on her 4th start, she ran a much better race in a decent listed contest at York, the Michael Seeley Memorial Stakes. I think she's the type that's going to keep getting better throughout the season. The Gosling yard's going well now. Kieran Schumacher's been jocked up. That tells me that she might be the one from that stable. They've got a few entered up. But I think off a mark of 97, she's definitely going to be quite well treated. You're going to need to be in this race. But thought she opened up at quite a big price considering her connections and profile and likely massive talent.
Yeah, for a next best, a massive price. Unibet at 25-1 about Spiritual for the Sandringham Stakes. That's at 5:05 on Friday. Graeme Rodway, to you then for number 2.
Big Rock for me, number 2, 2:30. Queen Anne Stakes, Tuesday, Ascot, one of my old favourites. Ground, obviously, is going to be everyone's worry because it is quickening up there and all of his best forms on soft going. However, he did run Ace Impact quite well, not close, but he did run second to Ace Impact on good ground last year in the French Derby. And I just watched the way he races, and I think, God, he's all speed. He should really act on fast ground. If he does, he's absolutely different gravy to this lot. I mean, he's, the rest of them might as well not turn up if Big Rock turns up in the form that he showed last season when he won the QE2 over the course and distance, because it was one of the miling performances of the last decade, let alone the last year. I know that the ground's going, but he's a massive price. Like, for a horse who is without doubt on his day the best horse in the race by quite some way. I mean, £7 clear on BHA ratings, 127 to 120 at audience, and he's you're getting like 5 or 6 to 1 on him, just because maybe the ground's not right. It's absolutely nuts price. And upside is, of course, we've got Maurizio Guarnieri, this trainer no one had ever heard of until this season. And now he's booked Christophe Soumillon to ride, Super Sumi in the saddle, rather than Aurelien Lemaitre, who's already shown himself up a couple of times in Britain over the last year. If anyone can get this right, Super Sumi's the man. I think Big Rock's just the wrong price, because based purely on ground. I mean, if he turns up and runs to 127, then Fresh Air finished second to him. I'll just shout out to one other, because now the ground's gone a bit quicker. I'll tell you what, Docklands could run a big race, a big price, fast ground. He really is a good horse on straight track at Ascot. And he was superb last year when he won on fast ground at the meeting. So I'm going to give you my number 2 bet. It's going to be Big Rock to win and Docklands to place in the Queen Anne on Tuesday, 2:30, the opener.
There we go. So Graeme Rodway's next best is going to be Big Rock in the Queen Anne. I'm going to get onto that race, spoiler alert, with my top number 1 bet. Ed Nicholson, you're going to finish us off with the next best.
Yeah, second best bet for me is Kyprios in the Ascot Gold Cup Thursday, 4:20. Slightly odds on now, 4 to 5. Kyprios, just looks a good bet, doesn't he? Was unbeaten 2 seasons ago when one of the 6 races he won was this race with Ryan Moore on. That was one of 4 Group 1 victories that year. He missed the majority of last season through injury. He didn't actually come until the back end of the season, just restricted him to 2 races. Which he lost both of them, actually. But this year, he's come back, bounced back, looking as good as ever, winning his first 2 races. Exactly the same 2 races he won before he won the Gold Cup 2 years ago. And he goes on all sorts of ground. I mean, we think it's going to be firm, but he's won on good to firm. Sorry, we don't think it's going to be firm. We think it's going to be fast, so good to firm. He's won on all sorts of ground, from good to firm, which was his Gold Cup winning ground, to very soft. So he's also got the speed to cope with a slow Gold Cup over 2 mile 4 furlongs. Sometimes they don't go that quick. He's won over 10 furlongs. He's won his first 2 races over 1 mile 6, but he does stay extreme distances. So if they did, try to sap the stamina from him, he'll win that way as well. So, I mean, for me, Kyprios looks bomb-proof, and he only wasn't my number 1 because of the price. But at 4 to 5, I think he wins. He's the most likely winner for me during the week.
Yeah, I think on his day he's just top class, isn't he? I think they've got him back. I think stepping up to this trip is going to really, really suit him. I think we'll see something quite special. I'm just going to quickly go around the panel before we get into our best bets. Just a yes or no. Don't need to go to Ed because he's given his case. But G-Rod and Robbie, yes or no? Will Kyprios win the Gold Cup? Robbie, to you first.
Nah, not for me. I've not been as impressed with him as Ed's been on his last couple of starts. To be honest, I'm not sure he retains all of that ability since the Cadran, but. Well, he might not need to. He might still be good enough. But I think I'd rather lay him at odds on, definitely.
Right, okay. And G-Rod, what's your opinion? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm against him, Sam. Obviously, if he runs to his best form, he will win. But it's a long, long time since we last saw it, and I actually think it's a good Gold Cup this year. So I'll be against him.
Okay, Ed, I'm with you. I think we'll probably see something pretty impressive on the day. To be totally honest, I think Aidan's going to have him spot on. So we'll just wait and see. Let half of us are right, half of us are going to be wrong. So there we go. Right, we're going to get into our best bet for Royal Ascot shortly after this.
Want betting on the horses to be anything but flat? With an app that impresses every time out. You're on. Want to watch live streaming of races in the UK, Ireland and around the globe? And get a chance to win even bigger? with 3 Uniboosts every day on any horses you want. Unibet, you're on.
Welcome back to the Racing Postcast, brought to you by the Racing Post, sponsored by Unibet. Sam Hart, Robbie Wilders, Graeme Rodway, and Unibet's Ed Nicholson. Now giving you our best bet for the Royal meeting. And Robbie Wilders, to you, who is the number one fancy?
Thank you very much. I've been trying to crash the price on Middle Earth for the last 3 weeks in the Hardwick Stakes, and I'm going to try a little bit more. I just think Continuous is a short price favourite. I think he's going to get found out first time out. I'm always against these Aidan horses returning on long layoffs. He's going to be sort of building towards an autumn campaign, I'd have thought. I'm expecting him to be rusty. And Middle Earth, we know he's proved his well-being as a 4-year-old. Thought he was really impressive in the Aston Park Stakes at Newbury and has come back. He came from last to first in a race that was very slowly run. The form's been frank since. King of Conquest come out and won a listed race at Goodwood in good style. Salt Bay, probably unlucky not to win at York on the weekend as well. Yes. He was beaten by miles in that race. I know he got his conditions at York. But I just think Middle Earth, he's run well at the course last year. He won the Noel Merlis Stakes in good style under a penalty from Chess Piece. He was a smart horse. I just think he's the type that's going to keep improving. He's by Roaring Lion, who's got a really good record of his progeny at Ascot. And I expect him to do the business in the Hardwick Stakes, Sam.
I completely agree with you. I think, Middle Earth in the Hardwick Stakes is a really good bet. I think, like Robbie said, Continuous could easily get found out in this race first time up. Ed Nicholson, number one fancy for Royal Ascot.
We all like him. I know we all like him because we've all tipped him in various podcasts. So I'm going for a horse that's named after the King's Pawn opening beginning. It's King's Gambit in the Hampton Court Stakes, Thursday, 5:40. He won an extremely competitive, well-attended handicap, packed full of improvers at Newmarket last time, in the manner which suggested he is more than capable of taking this step up in class to Group 3. That Newbury race, the London Gold Cup, already been mentioned, is basically a nursery ground for future group horses. It's like a Montessori school for talented racehorses have needed time and nurturing, and they just go and develop, and they end up being group horses. He won that handicap off 93. Plenty do go on to win group races. In fact, Time Test won in 2015, and then he had exactly the same rating as King's Gambit, 93. And his very next race, he won the Hampton Court, this race here. Baybridge, Defoe, they've both won that Newbury race and gone on to win Group 1s. So, King's Gambit won a very competitive race full of improvers really easily by 4 lengths. I remember that race really well because I really fancied Chantilly, who came third. But this horse raced all over him. And that just put me back into the King's Gambit camp. And I've been waiting for this race for a long, long time. He'd be fine on this ground. He's also run well on soft if it was to come up a little bit wet. William Buick rides, which is the icing on the cake as he rode at Newbury. He's still got a bit to improve on ratings. He's 107 now. I know it's a Group 3, but just to put it in context, as a horse rated 116. But he's going to improve. This is a really good horse. Robbie was mentioning him earlier on. The way he ran through that race and then just quickened up suggests to me he could be it could be a Group 1 horse, I think, in the future. But he's a Group 3 horse at the moment, without a doubt. And at 3-1, we're favourite. We're not the only. I think we're one of the only firms that have him as favourite. But he's a strong fancy at 3-1, and will be my number one pick.
Robbie would be agreeing with you that King's Gambit would be the right favourite. 3-1 with Unibet currently. I'm not with him, but it sounds like I need to have a little bit of a saviour on him because it seems like people are really fancying this horse. Before I go to Graeme Rodway for his best bet, I'm going to give mine because I think Graeme Rodway's right in the Queen Anne that the French will win the race, but they won't be winning it with Big Rock, in my opinion. I'm a massive fan of Big Rock, but I can't have him on the ground. But I'm going to go with a horse.
Deserter, Sam. You're deserter.
Yes, I do. Do you know what? If it absolutely lashed it down today, G-Rod, I'll be switching my opinion, but I don't think it's going to. Look, Robbie was a big fan of the horse I'm putting up for this race last year, and it's Factor Cheval. Robbie put him up for a couple of races last season, was unlucky actually not to get his head in front in a big race. But look, he was second to Paddington in a Sussex last year. He was then second to Big Rock in testing conditions at Ascot in the QE2. And look, a lot of these French horses often like soft ground. We often associate them to liking the soft conditions, but I don't think that's the case with this horse. He absolutely loves quick going. His performance in the Dubai Turf over 9 furlongs was absolutely exceptional. He was a big price that day. And Jerome Rainier, he's got a real horse in his hand, an older horse who's going places. Now, if you look at the form from that Dubai Turf, it's exceptional. The second was from Japan, went and ran in a Group 1 and was only narrowly beaten in Japan. The 4th easy won a Grade 1 in the US for Charlie Appleby. The 7th has won a Group 3 in easy style over in Longchamp. The Lord North and Nashua 8th and 9th. Luxembourg was 14th. He's won the Coronation Cup. It's such strong form. I don't think anything from Britain or Ireland in the race has any form close to him. Look, Big Rock probably does, but Big Rock needs that ground, I think, to show that he's got the strongest form in the race. Maxime Guillon's on board, in my opinion, one of the top 5 jockeys in the world. He's absolutely world class. And like I say, I can't see how Charon can beat this horse. Charon at the top of the market, I'm really against him. I might be completely wrong, but I'm really against Charon. I think Giro's right. If there were horses to run well at prices, Docklands is definitely one of them. And I thought Royal Scotsman, we were together, Giro at Epsom when Royal Scotsman won. And I said, look, in a really open-looking Queen Anne, he's definitely going to run a race if he turns up on quick going. So, yeah, look, there's a few each way there. But I think Factor Cheval, he is a really good bet. He's around 130 with Unibet. I'll be taking that all day long. So, G-Rod, I'm against you. The French are going to win the Queen Anne, not with Big Rock. But who's your best bet?
Yeah, my number one is on Ed's list already. It's Rosalien in the St James's Palace, and 4:25 on Tuesday. As your predecessor, as the host of this show, once said to me, Bruce Millington, he always used to say to me, "I've seen this movie before. I've seen this movie before." With Rosalien, with Richard Hannon. Ed has already nailed it. 2010, Camford Cliffs beaten in the Guineas, wins the Irish Guineas, wins this race, dominates the division. 2017, Barney Roy, 7 years later, beaten in the Guineas, improves, beats the horse that beat him in the Guineas, just like Rosalien is here by winning this race. And then another 7 years later, so 2010, 2017, 2024, every 7 years, Richard Hannon gets a star miler. And he's got another one that's been beaten in the Guineas, won the Irish Guineas, and he's just going to continue to improve. I think that this is the way that Richard Hannon trains his horses. He's just going to improve as the season goes on. I'm absolutely amazed that he's such a big price. I think he'll definitely reverse the form with notable speech from Newmarket. I was at Newmarket that day and watching the race from the stands. I mean, Rosalien was travelling so strongly. I was absolutely sure he was going to win. He got ran down by notable speech, but I think that Sean Levy had one eye on City of Troy, who blasted off in front and was red hot favourite, and thought maybe he had to beat City of Troy. So he had to keep close quarters on him. And he just was a bit vulnerable to a finisher late, I think, after keeping tabs on City of Troy, went off fast in front. And notable speech, had 3 runs, hadn't he, coming into that, all on the all-weather. He was absolutely bang fit. Rosalien was having his first run of the season. I'm not saying that Hannon would have left loads to work on, but I don't think he was absolutely at his peak. It was a remarkable performance, I thought, to win the Irish Guineas. He was at the back in an unpromising position, pulling hard. I thought there's no way he wins, and he still got up and won. He must have a huge amount of ability. Ground's come up right for him. He's already an Ascot winner. I think he'll win this race and go on to dominate the division. So Rosalien, 4:25 at Ascot, Tuesday, absolute 10-star nap.
There we go. And a lovely mention and for the previous host and the original host of the Racing Postcast, Bruce Millington. I've heard he'll be at Ascot on Tuesday. So hopefully you can find a few winners there. Right. I'm going to get the top 5 bets on screen for each of us as we run through just quickly from 5-1 who our best bets at Royal Ascot are. Robbie Wilders, starting with you, 5-1, nice and quick. Who are they?
Please. 5, Zandabad Ascot Stakes Tuesday. 4, White Birch Prince of Wales is Wednesday. 3, King's Gambit Hampton Court Thursday. 2, Spiritual Sandringham Friday. 1, Middle Earth Hardwick Saturday. Bosh.
And there we go. Robbie's on screen there. Yeah, you can screenshot those if needs be. But yeah, that is Robbie's top 5 bets. Right, Mr. Rodway, you're going to spin us through. Remember, number 5 is the horse that's meant to be at number 5.
Right, I get it right this time. 5 is Running Lion in the Duke of Cambridge. 4 is Elm Woosmac in the Hampton Court. 3 is Porta Fortuna in the Coronation Stakes. 2 is Big Rock in the Queen Anne Stakes. And number 1, 10-star Nap, Rosalien in the St James's Palace. Hannon going to do it again 7 years after the last one, 7 years after the one before. I've seen this movie before, Sam.
There you go. I can see some good prices there for G-Rod, some nice prices that could come in there. But Rosalia, a 10-star Nap for Graeme Rodway. I'll quickly give mine. My name is St Lawrence in the Wokingham Stakes, Ramatuel in the Coronation Stakes, Bracken's Laugh in the Hampton Court Stakes, Henry Longfellow in the St James's Palace Stakes, and finishing off, the French are going to win the Queen Anne, not with Big Rock, but with Factor, Cheval and Maxime Guillon. So there's my top 5 for what it's worth. And Ed Nicholson to finish us off 5-1. Off you go.
Yeah, Twilight Calls in the King Charles III on Tuesday, 3:45. Jazur is number 4, Commonwealth Cup Friday, 3:05. Number 3 is Rosalien, the St James's Palace Stakes, Tuesday, 4:20. Kyprios to win another Ascot Gold Cup. That's number 2 on Thursday at 4:20. And the number 1 is King's Gambit in the Hampton Court Stakes, Thursday at 5:40. Around about 3-1. Good thing.
There we go. That's the top 5 bets done and dusted. As always, look, there's plenty of sport and plenty of racing on this week. Do remember to gamble responsibly. The MO here at the Racing Post and Unibet is to only bet with money you can afford to lose. Just quickly, rather than saying what are we up to this weekend, because we haven't got a weekend coming up, but we've got a week ahead. Robbie Wilders, what's the plans for you this week in the office every day?
Yes, mate. First things first, I'm going to go and eat my porridge because I'm absolutely starving. And then I'll be typing an awful lot of words for the next 5 days, mate. What about yourself?
Oh, yeah, look, just quickly, yeah, Robbie's going to be working hard in the office this week. We're filming early on a Monday morning, and you can check out all of Robbie's thoughts in the Racing Post this week. Do make sure that you look at that. I'll tell you what, I'm actually at home at the moment. I've got to get the podcast edited, uploaded and out, and then I'm off to London for the week. I'll be working in London all week in the office as well, so I've got a lot of time with you. Graeme Rodway, you're going to be a busy bee this week.
Yeah, super busy week. It's the sort of week that I love, though. You know, I mean, it'll be non-stop, but you absolutely immerse yourself in it, don't you? And it's like not being part of reality for a week, just purely immersed in racing. I absolutely love it. I'll be in London on Tuesday, and then I'll be back at home watching Ascot for the rest of the week. And unlike Robbie with his healthy porridge, I'm going to go make myself a nice sausage sandwich for breakfast now. Got some of those left over from the barbecue yesterday. We had a lovely Euro 2024 England barbecue, and England did the business, albeit not that impressively.
They did indeed. I'm sure the barbecue is probably more exciting than the performance, though. And Ed Nicholson, what's the plans for you? Are you at Ascot every day? You've got to be there a few days at least, surely.
Yeah, I'm there Tuesday and Wednesday. I might go on Saturday as well, but yeah, it's obviously a busy time for us bookmakers with the World Cup, with the Euros on. Sorry, so you know, all hands to the pump during the week as well. So plenty of things going on. But yeah, I'll definitely be there on the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Really looking forward to it, and the weather's going to be great. I think for the first time in a long time. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Okay, there you go. So if you do see Ed there on Tuesday, do go over and say hello. Don't be shy. We love to hear from you if you're watching the show. Big thanks to my panel, as always, Robbie Wilders, Graeme Rodway, and Unibet's Ed Nicholson. We'll be back, not this week, but the following week with a weekend preview, as well as a review of the Royal Meeting. We'll talk through some of the star performances. But look, until then, do like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you do gamble responsibly. Thanks for watching.